Favoritism has got to be one of the most annoying parts of D&D games and friendships in general, because it's like your best can't match their worst, and there's nothing you can do about it. But this is a cut beyond that even. This is a story about what happens when favoritism goes so far, the DM actually just takes your character and gives it to his girlfriend. But first, a thank you to today's sponsor, Thorum, who are here to solve the problem of too many adventurers not having their own ring of power. Thorum handcrafts adventurous rings out of just about everything. Are you an astral wizard? The meteorite may help harness your powers. Are you an ale brewing dwarf? You can have a whiskey barrel. Here's a little industry secret, let me tell you. Oh yeah, makes sense. Here's a little industry secret. Even if the cops catch you, they can't legally stop you from ordering both rings. And even if you don't want to wear a meteorite, which is the coolest thing ever, they have rings made out of dinosaur bones and World War II rifles.
But CritCrab, they only sell the coolest rings ever. It's not like they sell watches.
I got news for you. They also sell watches. Just use code CritCrab20 for 20% off and it'll ship within 1 business day. I don't know a better deal than that. Anyways, back to the story. Also, I have some updates on a couple videos I talked about making earlier and a new direction for this channel, but I'll put that at the end of this video because I know you want the story. Here we go. Lewis and I were close, like best friends. We met just before the lockdowns and kept our connection alive through it over Zoom and games. We also dabbled with D&D. It wasn't particularly fun, but as a group, we liked it enough that everyone pulled up to get a group going as soon as we physically could. But literally right before session 1, tragedy hit. Something awful in Lewis's family. I won't repeat what happened out of respect, but it mattered. I was there for him. I listened and tried to be a decent friend, so imagine my face when not long after, he starts flirting with me. I never caught a vibe that he was attracted to me before this, but I had to respond. I gently let him down. I told him, hey, I love you like a brother, you're sweet, but please, you are grieving. I don't think this is it. And, surprisingly, he thanked me. So I thought we were on good terms. After a short break, we were ready for a game. But, surprising everyone, Lewis suddenly had a new girlfriend, Liza. She joined our group. Everyone had fresh characters. Mine was a resurrection of an original character that I made. She is the daughter of a god, but died and her resurrection failed. Now she has to be immortal, doomed to die again. But she can still see the divine and read fate. She only has this knowledge because her link to the divine hasn't been completely erased. She sees the fate's design as if it appeared physically in front of her. Lewis called it a perfect story hook because if our group of new players ever got stuck, she could get divine hints and lead us back into the game. I loved her and was excited to play her. Liza also loved my character and was also excited to play her. Cold. The game begins. It's a very starter pack fantasy romp, swords, inns, all that, but he cannot stop giving his girl screen time. NPC after NPC flirts with her, treasures fly her way, and I'm left thinking he's playing favorites. But Lewis was not the only issue. Liza would talk over everyone. And cut. There are some issues in D&D where I hate the problem, but I completely understand why they're doing it. Like a DM who railroads too hard, or a player who cheats. We understand why they do these things most of the time. But DMs who invite someone and ignore everybody else they invited to only develop one person's character, it confuses me. If you're gonna do that, you could have just run a one-on-one game and it would be totally chill. I would try to do a quiet moment with the rogue and she would just wedge herself in the conversation.
Wait, guys, I found something.
Like, okay, Miss Main Character, this behavior didn't end at our conversations either. Whenever I was granted a vision, she would act on it before I could even explain it. This made me feel like chiming in was pointless. I really don't ask for much, I just want what's fair, my own little portion of the game, but she just keeps biting at the only thing I really have. Now, here's the part where it gets unbearable. We were lost in a maze. We were trying to map it out, but we must have made some mistakes because the map we drew was wrong at every level. As I always do when we get stuck, I enter a divine state. I see the world from a bird's eye view, and that's when I see it. Our map wasn't wrong, the dungeon was changing around us. Liza jumped to tell everyone,
"Oh my god, guys, the dungeon is changing. We need to memorize the patterns."
All I did was ask, "Correct, but how did you know that?" Then Lewis chimes in, "Well, maybe she's the only other who understands your divine vision." That shouldn't be possible. It's not fair. She already gets most of the plot and NPC interaction. What's fair about this? We continue the game. I poutingly go non-verbal and try to make my silence speak for me. Wee-oo. Alright, I'm sorry, the fun and petty police have arrived. But we all know what I'm gonna say, right? I do hate to be predictable, and I also hate to play both sides, but I'm about to do that. This is one where I feel the DM, OP, and the DM's girlfriend all need to get real. Let's start with the obvious. DM, buddy, you had a session 0 to establish all of this, and a whole campaign to reinforce it. Even new DMs are usually aware enough to not let one player dominate. Now, for OP, it's not fair. I wish it was different, but come on, closed mouths don't get fed. You can't assign this level of blame to someone while sitting back, not saying anything, and just smugly watching them trample you. If you sit there and silently wait for everyone else to acknowledge how wronged you were, you're gonna be waiting for a very long time. I'm not even really against the practice of going quiet and temporarily shrinking. That is a great practice for when you're trying to control your emotions and think logically. But it's when you say, "I want my silence to speak for me." In this specific instance, putting those two together will only create a lot of disappointment, which will then become resentment, which will then become emotional outbursts, usually. Anyways, considering that we're reading this story today, I'm gonna assume it gets a lot worse. Lastly, it's a bit hard for me to get a read on girlfriend just yet. Should she be more socially aware? Yeah, obviously. We can agree on that. But I don't know. If she was being mean-spirited, I'm absolutely certain OP would have mentioned it, but so far, all I get from her is that she's just really excited, probably brand new to the game, and completely unaware of etiquette. That's a loose opinion coming from me. That'll probably change later. I don't really want to dump any blame on the girlfriend just yet when the DM is sitting right there. Anyways, whenever a divine signal appeared, I just looked at Liza and didn't have to wait for her to announce it, which she always did. After a while of this, I publicly ask, how is this possible? How can she magically read my signals? Lewis just smugly responds, perhaps she's tied to your god in some way. On the outside, I'm unbothered, but inside I'm spiritually facepalming and screaming at this dummy. The only reason I didn't get pressed is because I knew he was juggling mourning and a new girlfriend. I planned to bring this up to him later, but not just yet. Besides, I didn't really care that much. Lewis hypes up for the next game, he says a big reveal is coming, and I have mixed feelings. I want to believe this will be good, but I have a very bad feeling about this. The game goes on as it's supposed to. We cut through the dungeon, beat the final boss, but at the end, an orb of light sits alone. Lewis beckons us to take it. Liza rushes in and tries, but it doesn't work for her. I'm sitting on my hands, passive-aggressively waiting for anyone else to take over. But this time, after no one else could take the orb, Lewis just looks at me. I must admit, I felt a little seen. This felt good. I approach the orb and it sparkles, giving me a vision. It's a message from my father, the god. He gives me a request. He wants me to bring him this orb. Also, he has a revelation for me. It wasn't just me who died as a god. It was a pair of twins. Oh. And Liza is my sister. Oh. That's why she has all the same powers as me. Lewis sat back with a smug look on his face, like he just solved the game and set everything right. But I felt backstabbed, because I knew this wasn't the plan for her in the beginning. I knew she just saw something shiny and wanted it, not caring about anybody else. I doubted that I even had a place in the game after that. I quit the benefit of the doubt and talked to him seriously. You are not giving her my character right now. You're joking. Well, she is your sister. It makes sense that she would be a demigod too. She wasn't always. You can't be telling me this was the plan from the start. Look, she's going through a lot right now, and given how things have been going in my personal life too, it would mean a lot to me if you don't make it any worse and just get along. Ooh boy, oh wow. In case you missed it, every word of that sentence was dirty. Ooh. Let's break down exactly how bad of a communication style that was. First, she's going through a lot. Like, okay, I'm sorry to hear she's going through a lot, but I'm bringing up your behavior, not hers. OP said you are not giving my character to her. The center of blame is on the DM currently. And then there's the part, given how things have been going in my personal life, please don't make it any worse. I'm sorry, what? Are you kidding? This is maybe the most fixable problem, and your response is offloading the responsibility onto her, then punishing her for communicating, and saying that by making a valid complaint, she's making things worse for you. Anyways, hearing this, I'm starting to get why OP didn't verbalize her problems earlier. Maybe she knew he was like this from earlier in their history, and just didn't even want to open that can of worms. I don't know how to respond. I don't want to stir any tea, so I physically continue showing up, while I mentally fade away. My expectations now are as low as can be. Games stopped pressing me and instead just gave me time to think and relax. My friends took notice and tried to rope me back in. They would make their ranger and druid hold space for me, and then Liza would jump in and interrupt. I had given up fighting for myself to have a place in the story, but the others hadn't, and I'm very grateful because of it. Ranger: hey, you never did tell me. How is it that you're an oracle? You can just see things before they happen. Liza jumps in and over-explains our backgrounds.
Actually, we're both sisters and not oracles, and also we are divine, dead goddess, demigoddesses now, and we gotta die so we can go back home.
Everyone stares. Ranger just blinks, turns back to me. Anyway, you were saying? It was as if Liza had never said anything. I felt so defended. I felt like finally someone else saw what was happening. I probably wouldn't be writing this story if it wasn't for them and what they continued to do. They jokingly started calling me the emotional support demigod, and sometimes the copy, just in case. Alright, finally, something cool I can sink my claws into. You're about to hear something clawsome that you can take from this video, and your life might even just be a little improved in 30 seconds. This is what I call the golden window of opportunity. It'll instantly make you more memorable, charismatic, and also just a better friend. And you'll have an opportunity to use it, I guarantee it. What is a golden window? The story just demonstrated it. You're in a group setting and someone speaks but is either interrupted or completely ignored. Now, all you need to do is center them. It's as simple as looking their way and saying, "Wait, you were saying?" Then just listen and interact with their idea. People always remember when you do this. It sends a message that the person you're talking to isn't just there for decoration. You actually value them as a person and what they have to say. Anyways, I will stop being a cornball now. Where were we? Ranger and Druid were being so petty and making them uncomfortable, but to me, the other people seeing clearly what was happening felt very healing and kept me coming back. Lewis doubled down and gave his girlfriend an in-game boyfriend NPC, skull emoji, and turned the campaign into an open love letter. Whenever Lewis wasn't fawning over his new girlfriend, Druid and Ranger were using me to make Liza uncomfortable. It felt wrong being put in the spotlight, but also I did enjoy the attention as a guilty pleasure. It only took a few jabs like this for Liza's face to fall. Lewis then prepared an amazing argument. It was so good it changed my perspective forever. Guys, it's not like that. Stop it. Everyone was dazzled. Just kidding. I smiled to myself, but that was it. Not much actually changed. I guess Lewis would admit wrongdoing by acknowledging me. He made a self-insert NPC to be a lover for Liza. This NPC was not too involved, but the game became more of a love letter to his Liza than an actual D&D game. A few games pass, I use this time more as a chance to get out of the house than to play a game. I spend the time drawing and participating in combat when, after enough time passes, Lewis calls on me. You receive a message from your god. You're being led to a castle across the ocean. Do you accept it? I do. The next games were actually pretty fun. We traveled the seas, crossed the forest, moved through the battlements, and eventually defeated the Guardians and entered the castle. There, another orb was waiting for me. After taking it, I'm given a message. You hear your father's voice again. He tells you it's time to make the ultimate sacrifice, to pass on your divine spark so that the world might be saved. I stopped paying attention to Lewis and his diva a while ago. I did not care about their little duet that I had to pay the price for, but for some reason, I did. Just for a moment. That's when Lewis said something like, your power flows up in the air, and one cup fills another. It flows into Liza, making her a true demigoddess. My character was left without her thing. It was just taken away. Whatever. I wasn't doing anything with it anyways. I sit back and decide that this is going to be my last game. I don't know how this will be received by the comments, but does anyone else feel bad for Liza the girlfriend? I still haven't heard anything from her that can only be read as malicious. I still think that she just lacks some social awareness and is overexcited. I hear the way she just jumps in, and what I want to do is harness that enthusiasm and channel it into great, energetic roleplay. I don't feel good hearing them punish her, even though she is acting a little poorly. But that's the difference between a good faith mistake and a bad faith attack. If someone's heart is in the right place, you can usually take the same thing they're doing wrong and help them turn it into something great. Still, she could be a total snot, but I think OP would have mentioned a single moment where she was doing something worse than just jumping the gun and speaking over everybody. Good people do that and just aren't really aware of it. But still, anyways, that's the problem with favoritism. Even if the favorite isn't an active problem, a lot of the times they still catch resentment because of the special treatment that they never asked for. Anyways, it's just a mess. Let's see how it ends. I just say, well, I guess I'm going to retire now. I have all the gold I could want and none of the power to be an adventurer anymore. It's been fun. After the game ends, I text Lewis. I'm ready to leave the game, but first I want some answers. So, I guess Liza is the new me? No, she's not the new you, and I'm tired of you and everyone else acting like she somehow copied you. Your character's purpose was to pass on her gift. That's the entire point of your story. After playing with you, I realize you're not a good fit for this group. You're not attentive, you don't interact with anyone, and it's incredibly frustrating to watch you only pay attention when you have something to do. You aren't needed for the next game. No, alright, nah, this is bad. Let me collect my thoughts. Shell, prepare the news broadcast. This just in, the DM takes away OP's character, centers his girlfriend, and when OP tells him about it, he burns her. Now, the DM is surprised that OP doesn't want to interact anymore and kicks OP right out of the game. I'm sorry, as a player, what are you supposed to do if your character's traits are siphoned off one by one, and then you're looked at like a weirdo because you're not interacting anymore? How are you supposed to interact at that point? I know I've been critical of OP from time to time, but genuinely, what are you supposed to do? Oh, I'll just communicate even more with the DM. I know he acted like a child and that I was the devil for it, but maybe just one more try. Really? Could OP have done some things better? Probably. I suppose it's possible, but I feel like the DM burnt the bridge of good faith communication first. I think it's the DM's fault that OP isn't communicating anymore, because he punished it. Now, here's another point. I feel like this is the smoking gun that just throws it all together. If the DM had a problem with OP being withdrawn and not communicating, why didn't the DM bring that up? Why didn't the DM communicate that? Instead, he just kicks OP out. Whatever. I feel like a lot of things could have been handled better by a lot of people, but I really don't like this DM. I really don't like him. Anyways, there's only a little story left. Let's read it. I was so mad I couldn't even respond. I just wanted to put him in his place about stealing my character and giving her to Liza. I wanted to storm off, but this was all too much. I have avoided him ever since. The Ranger and Druid quit when they heard what happened. I still spend time with them. And maybe I over-romanticize those early days when it was just us chilling online, but I miss it. This story came to mind because Druid and Ranger invited me to another campaign, and I can finally give D&D a real chance. Alright, I've said what I needed to say about the story. Now I have some important updates. I stuck this at the end of the video because this little blurb won't matter soon, so I didn't want to start an evergreen video with information that's only relevant at the end of 2025. First, I made but didn't upload a video explaining why I keep disappearing. I made like 3 revisions of it, but the short version is, I don't get turned away by the algorithm or mental health or burnout. If I go silent for a very long time, it's usually because I just get blind to how much time passes between uploads. I'm not kidding. 1 minute I'm uploading, I'm on a hot streak, I'm having fun, then I blink and suddenly I see posts asking if I'm okay. I think, that's a weird thing to post. Then I realize it's not weird at all because I've been gone for 3 months. So, for anyone who's been concerned, thank you for caring, but I'm fine. I'm just terrible at time management. Now, for the bad news. That super long video that I've been working on that was gonna be like 5 hours long, as much as I would like to upload it, it's taken way too much of my attention away from my main uploads, so I'm super duper sorry, but I gotta cancel that one. I don't like reneging on things that I said I would do, let alone twice, but I'm pushing the reset button and starting fresh now that 2026 is right around the corner. Speaking of the new year, I like to get ahead of my resolutions by at least a month, but some commenters have already picked up on what mine is. Have more fun. I'm sometimes playing around with my narration style, I'm experimenting with different types of content, I got a new crab avatar thanks to my boy Dieter. I feel like sometime around maybe 2023, I kind of forgot that I'm doing this to have fun, which is something that thankfully I've relearned. Anyways, if you've humored me for this long, you get a sand dollar. That's right, we're bringing Shell and the sand dollars back, both in the same video. And as always, till next time.